Oke bose tulive na kuyalelo tevyo baye Amita pendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoto kula kuivukisha Kanate pochimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Awazunga wajita katongi Nakula kuivukisha kateka Kaipuku muna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove
Ale filamba Fiena minta pengo sile Eti kume mo pulo ndolo la vale Lilo mwingi
Iseko wengi mwakwete Isaso wengi mwakwete Mwaya Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatuja tuleli lake Mpanga chiba
Penda Mpanga mwine Oya mwine Ide lalila Lalila Lalila
Kangu ya mama ume Ala nacho mwabye Mama Ukula bebyo wachito mwingi Ibisebo wapangiri mwingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiani Chagwa katuse
Wonderful day, good day to you all who are joining us by through social media, YouTube, TikTok, and on X, on my pages. You can check them. Please share this broadcast. We are hosting Honorable Greyford Monde, former livestock minister under the government of President Michael Chilufya-Sata as deputy and as minister under under His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We are hosting him today. We want to find out how he's doing, what his role is. Will he participate? Remember, he used to be a member of parliament for Iteji, and we want to understand if he will pursue his politics in Iteji or at national level, or he will participate in whatever opportunity will arise. We use the opportunity to discuss the state of our country and the proposed solution. For me, I think that's where the biggest burden is on the solution. So tell us where you are calling us from. Is the volume okay? Is the picture okay? Is the quality okay? Is YouTube on? Is X on? If it's not on, alert us so that we can quickly check this broadcast. I was fascinated by Honorable Greyford Monde's tribute to the late president. Let me see he issued a tribute to the late president just after the late president passed on. Let's listen to that.
As the sunlight breaks through the grief that blankets our nation, I bow my head in solemn reflection, not only as a former cabinet minister, but as one who walked, served, and leant under the steady and humble leadership of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. His passing is not just the loss of a former head of state. It is the silence of a heart that beat for the people. A heart that, though often misunderstood, remained anchored in service, compassion, and peace. President Lungu not only led with a loud declaration, but with quiet resolve. At a time when politics around the world grew bitter and divisive, he stood firm, not in arrogance, but in grace. He taught us that leadership is not about the spotlight, but about bearing the weight of a nation with dignity and restraint. He bore that weight for you, for me, for Zambia. I was privileged to serve under his administration. I watched firsthand his deep concern for the ordinary Zambian, the farmer in the field, the youth seeking opportunity, the mother building a home, marketeers, and all that needed his hand. He never merely chased leadership, but leadership chose him, as can be testified at his first election in 2015. An anointed son of the soil to bear burdens of the people. He did not fight for himself, he fought for Zambia. And now on this day, we do not mourn as a people without hope. We remember that a life poured out in service is never lost. It is planted. And from it grows courage, unity, and a renewed call for us all to live lives that matter. To the family, I offer my prayers. To the nation, I pray for unity, love, and peace to honor his legacy. Let us honor him, not just with words, but with action. Let us be leaders in our homes, in our communities, in our hearts. Let us choose peace. Let us choose unity. Let us carry Zambia and our dreams together. Rest well, Your Excellency. Your journey on earth is complete, but your legacy marches on. God bless Zambia as we mourn. Thank you.
More thing before I die. Can I do one more thing before I die? Can I say one last prayer?
Indeed, his legacy lives on. Thanks for that tribute, Honorable Greyford Monde. I'm privileged to host him. Let me just bring him on board that we can begin to discuss. My dear brother, welcome to today's program. I had invited you earlier to the Conversation podcast and you never came. Womlam, you have a lot of cases here. You have to pay a lot of goats and cows before I even begin to open my own mouth. I think your microphone, check your microphone, it appears it's kind of off. Yeah.
I hope this is clear now.
Let them put it a bit up. Let them just put it a bit up. Just a bit up. Yeah. It was a bit lower. Okay. Let me just play something while you are sorting that out.
How is that?
Oh, you're okay? I think you're okay. I said, Womlam, you have issues here. I invited you to the Conversation podcast and you didn't come. And it took a long time for you to come in. But I'm glad you are here. But I hope you've tied some goats and cows outside to say sorry.
the time that invitation came, I was in the village trying to look after those goats and some cows. And so we will pay the entire cow for this offense. So, I mean, it has now come. I'm very excited about this opportunity again.
No, we're glad to host you too. Let's start the program. Many people would see you on TV as a deputy minister and later as a cabinet minister. You were a very strong, participant and contributor in the National Assembly when you were MP. You had started your life as MP for UPND. Just tell us about your life. Who is Greyford Monde?
Yeah, so Greyford Monde is the son of Mr. John Smangolwa Monde, a former miner who worked at now Concola Mine, then ZCCM, born in Lusaka, but of course under registration that Nampundwe is under Mumbwa, so my registrations show that I was born in Mumbwa. And my mother is, both are late, by the way. My mother is Margaret Lusebo Makoi Monde, and with about 5 sisters and 5 brothers. We're about 11 in our family. 3 of those are not with us, but we still are quite a big number, and we thank the Lord for still keeping us together. I started my grade 1 at Nampundwe Primary School, and just the following year my father retired and he relocated to Itezi, where I continued with my grade 2 going up to grade 9, and later went to Mumbwa Secondary School up to high school. Grade 12 I completed in Mumbwa, came to Lusaka, where I started to work under Ministry of Health as a cashier, as a registry clerk, as a daily classified employee. I was at Chawama, now hospital, then it was a clinic, then went to Kanyama, continued as a cashier, and later I did a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics from the University of Africa. I am married to Nancy Bensaya, and have 3 children, Moana, Bensaya, Monde, and I have 2 girls, Graciel Lusebo Monde and Carissa Namangolwa Monde. I'm an Adventist myself, a member of the SDA Church, baptized, and have served in various positions. I served as a deacon at a very tender age, below 19 years. By 20 years thereabout, I was ordained as an elder in the church, in the SDA Church. So I served as a member of parliament for Itezi from 2011 to 2016 under the UPND party, the party that I joined in 1999, to be specific, in March. You recall that this party was actually created or formed in November 1998. So I can gladly at the time say that I was one of the founders, because I think a political party within about 5-6 months, you are really recruiting new members. I was one of those early members that joined the party. And I have wanted to run as a member of parliament, because at a time growing up in Itezi, I saw how Itezi was getting dilapidated, infrastructure was just falling off, and so I wanted to give it a try and see how I can be able to impact the people in Itezi. And so my first attempt was in 2001, and I recall very well, I was very, very young. In 2001, I was about 24 years, somewhere thereabout. And I was not yet married, and you know how politics sometimes would be deemed, no, he's not even married, he's still a young man. I never let go. I continued to pursue this dream. In 2006, in fact, I must mention in 2001, I was running with giants of the party at a time. There was our then elections chairman, late Mr. Nabuliato, former son of the former Speaker of National Assembly, who was the elections chairman of UPND, and there was one Honorable Godfrey Mwizebene, who was the National Youth Chairman of the party, and I was the only one without a structure, and I was contesting against these men. The process didn't favor me. I was not adopted. One of us was, Mr. Nabuliato was adopted. He ran that election and unfortunately didn't succeed. The MMD retained the seat in Itestezi, and it was the first time, it was the only seat in Itestezi that actually was retained by the MMD in Southern Province then. And all the districts, UPND under the late President Mazoka won all the seats, the 18 of them. The 19th was Itestezi, and it was taken by the ruling MMD. And in 2006, I didn't leave the dream. I pursued it. I went ahead to give it another try, where truthfully speaking, and truly so, I know that I was dribbled, okay, because all the processes from the grassroots going all the way, in fact, up to the national interview, I beat everyone with very big margins. Primary elections, out of 100 people that came, I poured about 79 votes, and we were 6 of us that were contesting. The remaining 21 was shared, literally 2, 3, 4 votes, and so on. But I never took the adoption, and it was part of the process. I never let go. In 2011, I went for it. Again, out of 10 wards that came, again, I got 7 wards. 2 wards went to Madam Namakau Kaingu, a very strong iron lady, lives in Itestezi, and one went to the then sitting, one ward went to the then sitting MP, Honorable Godfrey Bene. And I got the results for the constituency, I got the results for the province, I got results for the district, and all the way through, and I was then adopted. I came to Parliament after 2 years or so, around 2013, to be specific, in February on the 14th, it was a Valentine a present for me, that I got the appointment to serve as Deputy Minister. And I ran, I worked with, I was appointed by late President Michael Sata as Deputy Minister, and later when he died, I was reappointed by late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and later my position was elevated to that of Cabinet Minister, a position I greatly appreciate and thank late President, of course, late presidents for the appointments. And here I am today, a member of the party, and now the country is aware that in 2022 there was a call for a vacancy in the party, the PF party, and the call was to get a president, and I'm one of those that participated in this process. And I haven't withdrawn my intention for running as a president, and I'm awaiting, like any other person that has participated or paid in this process, awaiting for advice and direction regards how we proceed with this process. And I think I have tried to cover ground in terms of who Greyford Monde is. I should not have taken this long, because I think there are more important matters to talk about outside an individual like myself. So I'm so grateful. Again, I hope that I've covered ground.
You had great opportunity in government as Deputy Minister and as Minister of a key portfolio, at agriculture. Just tell us your experiences and what did you learn? What did you learn of the profile of our country? Why can't agriculture really take off? Why does it have to remain a mere potential?
Very well. So what I learned at agriculture is that, first of all, the country is endowed with a lot of arable land for agriculture. Zambia has about 3 agricultural zones that were drawn. I know they could still reduce if we really were going to look at specific areas of crops that needs to be improved. And that at the Ministry of Agriculture, I got to learn a lot of things. We traversed this country to see the potentials of this country. This country sits a lot of water bodies in the region, and that water just goes all the way down into the ocean without it having to be utilized. So to in fact talk about droughts and lack of water for whatever purpose, especially the agriculture in terms of irrigation, is a miss for the entire country. And 61 years after independence, would really should have been making serious measures or steps to ensure that the agricultural sector is doing very well. I think before I go deep into this sector, I may also want to quickly thank the staff that I found at the ministry, the experts at the Ministry of Agriculture, combined now the two ministries, fisheries and livestock and agriculture itself, that received me at that ministry. When I got the appointment from President Michael Sata, I actually asked a question: why have you chosen? I was hoping I was going to be put into ministries like youth and sports and so on. But the man was very clear. He says, look, you come from a constituency where fish is part of the daily activities and major economic activities for the people of Itestezi. You come from the ministry where cattle, livestock is actually major activities of the people in the area. You also come from a place where crop agriculture or crop farming is also one of the major activities. So the combination of the three activities not only put you, but you also have the experience in agriculture itself. Therefore, I think that you may not have the training in agriculture. What you may have is actually the actual practical experience in this sector. And so the cries and the problems of your people and the country at large will quickly be heard, because you have lived your life as an agriculture person, growing up in areas where these three parts of agriculture that I've mentioned. And so at the ministry, what I was taking is now the part of the experience and the education from those that have gone to school. And I can assure you that those officers are still at the ministry. And if the government or any governments in the future would really want to save the country, tap in the knowledge of how these officers and what the knowledge that they possess to improve I go to this ministry, and the one thing to look at were, for example, the pricing of inputs for agriculture. So you and major and top on the list, and this is one of the biggest challenges in the agricultural sector, is the fertilizers, that are required for you to increase your yield. Okay, so the prices of a fertilizer, for example, as a major input in terms of a requirement for agriculture, needed to be addressed. And at a time when I go to the ministry, serving under Honorable Bob Schinga. First of all, I served under many ministries, but the longer one I think was under Honorable Bob Schinga at a time, who again gave me a lot of opportunity to explore myself into the ministry and get the experiences. We had to fight to reduce the cost of fertilizer. Deliberately, to manage the ministry, we were given different areas of concentration as deputy ministers. At the time, we were three: myself, late Honorable Rogers Mwewa, and Honorable Kazabu, and so who was in charge of livestock and fisheries. Then I was put on the side of the crops and so on. And the fertilizer was under my supervision. I fought to ensure that we reduce the price of fertilizer from $1,200 per metric ton to about $600. And even that, I still feel that we could still have reduced it further down. And this is one of the things that I keep saying, that when I heard and saw that the UPND were talking of reducing the cost of fertilizer, I believed in that campaign promise, which has never come to pass. So that, and then the other things that we learned from the ministry, and which I think that even the government, that as progressive governments, could have taken concentration and pay attention to, were, for example, the Maputo Declaration, okay, where African countries were advised, okay, or signed for as part of the agricultural protocols for Africa Union of at least taking agricultural budgets, national budgets, to a minimum of 10% of the national budget. And that achieved, I can assure you, the nation and Honorable Ambassador Mwamba, that agricultural budgets at 10% will create a lot of food security, and we know what that will do. It will definitely be able to reduce the cost of living, the cost of mealie meal, cost of agricultural produce, and so on. In fact, that will in fact promote a lot of exports, not only just for Africa, but even to many other countries. It's a sad story that that declaration, which should have been achieved by 2025, which is where we are today, and that was done in 2003, to date, Zambia has not achieved the 10% budgetary allocation in the agricultural sector. It's a very sad picture. It's a very sad picture. I know that Zambia still imports.
Yeah, just to join in the conversation, probably the crisis of running a government, the competing priorities. You know, when you go to a health conference, they tell you that the health sector should receive minimum 18% of the national budget. When you go to education, I think it's 12%. The documents that we've signed with the UN, with the AU, social security also should have a minimum somewhere around 10-15%. Now look at our current budget. Up to 52% of our national budget goes to pay salaries for public service workers. There are about 300,000 or so public service workers, but they gobble up to 52% of your national budget or your national domestic revenue. This is before you factor in the cost of running government, the factor of running especially state house, awatemo kwenda mwendo kamunjila. You know, what do the Nyanjas say? Kwendo panjila. I don't know what they say, the Nyanjas, but they say it very well. When you look at the factors of just running government, you add a 20%. Before you pay your debt service, your national budget is literally gone. So I can imagine how we lament about the 10% that we should support the agricultural sector, which is an economic sector. Maybe our thinking should be different. What should be the role of the private sector in that case, looking at the structure and realities of our national budget?
Very well, and well said. So here is where governments miss it. And for sure, if what we are struggling with right now in terms of those percentages, for example, when we talk about how much that just to meet our wage bills for this country, the 52%, we are talking of 52% of a very small figure, okay? A very small figure to manage the 300,000 plus or so civil servants that we are talking about. If government concentrated its efforts to meeting some of these numbers we're talking about, for example, in the agricultural sector, if we pushed in about 10% or 10% plus, you know, agriculture is not just about food security. It's also one of those areas of the economy that can improve our GDP. I know that there are many countries in the world, in Africa, that don't have the resources that as Zambia we boast of. And those countries, I can also assure you that them depending on just agriculture, they are able to meet their national budgets. So for me, I think it's really priorities that we need to start taking stock of. And if we are to look at our priorities, we should be able to meet our budget deficits. So in Zambia, we concentrate much on our copper. And we are ignoring, for example, even this same copper. I hope that we can get time again to talk about, so I can put my position on how I really think. But to talk about agriculture, I think for me that if we increase in terms of financing the agricultural sector, the returns are going to be very high. Almost
I was actually doing a bit of arithmetic. You actually see that in Africa, for example, in Zambia, to date we are still importing rice, we are still importing fruits, we are still importing chickens, we are still importing, sometimes even eggs, we are still importing wheat, and so on. And Zambia being land-linked, we should have taken advantage over this. Just the agricultural sector, well managed, can be able to become our mainstay in terms of contributing to our national GDP and be able to pay all our national budgets without having to borrow or to look anywhere else. Okay, Ethiopia is one of those countries where 40% of their GDP is coming from the agricultural sector. And because of the emphasis they've put, it's the concentration that they've put in these sectors that the returns are going to be seen. We go home jumping and get excited and want to export 500,000 metric tons of maize, for example, that the cabinet is talking about now, and how much they've sold in the past. All of this is coming from a paltry less than 5% of our national budget, okay? And even the same budget is still a very small budget for a big country like Zambia. So the day we are going to start looking at sectors that are going to benefit the economy and put our emphasis on such, is the time that we are going to realize that actually Zambia is a big country. So with agriculture, not just for the, not only just for the for government support, private sector participation in the agricultural sector can create a very big number of people employed compared to what government is going to employ. So for me, really, the agricultural sector has not received its befitting junk in terms of prioritizing this sector. Along the agricultural sector, Zambia can become the hub. It can become the food barn for the entire Africa. You know that Congo will always be looking for maize, looking for cassava, they look for millet, they look for sorghum. Angola is looking for rice, they're looking for all of these things. And we've got plains. For example, in the Western Province, the Barotse Plains, okay, in Northern Province, okay, around Nakonde, they are all good land for paddy rice, you know. Sugar can still be grown in this country and be able to be managed. Just sugar exports are going. So all of those exports, we look at wheat, for example, there are times when this country has to import wheat from neighboring countries, from Tanzania, from South Africa. And when there's no wheat, then even the cost of bread, it goes up. And you know, bread sometimes is actually next to our staple food, which is maize, okay? So for me, I really feel that we can grow our economies just with the agricultural sector. And especially that we have failed to run our mines. I think that agriculture can become a very good replacement to this sector which we have failed to manage. So I think for me, really, in terms of a private participation, if government creates good policies around the agricultural sector, okay, so that a farmer is supposed to know that when they produce enough maize, the borders are going to be open for markets. When they produce enough cotton, the prices are not going to be fluctuating. When they have sunflower, they are going to sell it freely. You know, all of these things. This is what government is supposed to be concentrating its efforts on. And I'm looking forward to the next declaration for AU, whether they will still want to maintain the 10% for agriculture in terms of our national budgets. Yes, there are competing needs. Agriculture should be one of, really, food security is equal to national security. If a country is starving, they can't have power to fight the enemy. If the country is starving, the frame of mind, right frame of mind for people, workers, you can't work without food, okay? And the agriculture creates nutrients for our people in terms of various components.
Indeed, Honorable.
Agriculture for me, yeah.
Before I take you to the broader issues, I was particularly interested in the matter because you were at Ministry of Agriculture for quite some time. I also always wonder why we plan very, very low. Our targets are very, very low. You plan low, your achievements will be low. I also agree with you on the role of the public sector. The public sector, in fact, has driven the numbers. FISIP was a project that was quite small. It was meant to be, a poverty alleviation program. But then when President Mwanawasa reintroduced it, he realized that this could also provide food security other than providing food security for the poor. And the number was expanded by the PF from 500,000 to 1.1 million. And that's the first time we beat the threshold of 2 million metric tons. Now it has become natural to do 3 million metric tons. Why? Because of the involvement of those smallholder farmers that are supported by government. And another matter where the public sector can participate, the farming blocks, brilliant concept. And it's a pity that we really haven't invested in the farming blocks. We have a farm block in each province. Nansanga in Serenje, Luena in Luapula, Mansha in Muchinga, Mushindamo in Northwestern Province, Musokotwane in Southern Province, Luswishi on the Copper Belt, Shikabeta in Lusaka, Chikumbilo in Eastern Province, and Kalungwishi in Northern Province. All of these having in excess of 100,000 hectares of land. If we took power, we took roads, we graded the feeder roads, we provided water. These can be engines for our agriculture sector, but it remains a lip service. Let me take you to the state of our country. You are in opposition, and before first you answer that question, many already people are asking that you are literally founder member of the UPND. And I think you were forced to leave the UPND maybe 10, 15 years later, a party you had worked for many years. You were among the founder members. Why did you leave the UPND? I've seen some calls asking you that question. Then transition us to the state of the country now. And then we begin to pick up the conversation.
Very well. So, at the time when I joined the UPN, I was very young, and 1999 when I joined, that was about less than 3 years of my time after high school, and I believed so much in the vision of the later president and founding father of that party, late Honorable Mazoka Kambela Mazoka Koiwotu. And I think I interacted very well with him at that age, even if I was still a non-entity at the time. He helped to build me all the way through. On a few occasions that would meet, and a few phone calls that he would do, try and make. I got very encouraged. I believed in his vision. I saw how that we were going to have a better country. Along the way, I think I began to that there were a lot of changes in the manner that was managed, and really, in the past is the history. No intention whatsoever to think going back. Thinking like many other members that started along the way, especially with the coming in of a new leader. It was very clear that lots of things shifted, goalposts, our beliefs, how things were being done and managed. So a lot of people could not stay in there. And there's a long list that I can want to run through the country. For example, you recall that Honorable Bob Stringer was one of those vice presidents that were with the UPN at the start, left. Honorable John Mulwila left. And many of us, including the late President Edgar Lungu, was also one of the members who contested the election actually in 2001, also left, and So former Vice President Inonge Wina was one of those members who belonged to the start of the UPND, left. Honorable, our acting president right now, Honorable Lubinda, was one of those members who was an MP in 2001 under the UPND, left. So you actually literally see that the members that left the UPND in after 2006, 2011, many of them, had they stuck around, UPND could have probably formed government way before 2021. And part of the long delay in them forming government was actually as a result of all of those shifts in the governance system and how the party was managed, how decisions were being done, and how people were looked upon. And so for me, I actually felt, speaking for myself, that I was being gagged, for example, to do certain things I felt I must be able to do. And really to avoid putting it online now is something in the past, because for example, if I want to take development and I'm told, no, if you're going to be negotiating for the road project and then it's delivered, it will be deemed as though it's a government. So would you hold on until when we come in power? The mandate I'm given by the people is actually 5 years, and therefore I cannot wait. My people want water. I'm not going to wait. I'll talk to the Minister of Local Government at a time who was in charge for water development. And so if they provide me services, then I hear stories, no, he's meeting ministers and then for me, I felt that's not now my role. And my role as an MP is to stand between the people that I'm representing and the government. So the needs of my people, I must be able to deliver to government, okay? The fact that we've lost an election as a political party must not take my people to wait until when it shall be done. Service delivery to the people sometimes is so dire that denying a health post to be built, or denying a road to be built, a bridge to be built, okay, a crossing point for the people to be built in crocodile-infested areas is actually life-saving, or it's a call for humanity. And especially for me, I truly deem the work of a politician as a sanctified work. It's a call to actually serve the people on behalf of the Creator, who is God. And so I will not wait for someone to tell me, no, wait until when. I think for me that was basically the one big point where we parted and differed with my then president. And so even when along the way when that was happening, then I got an appointment. I chose I was going to defend the people. And so that's what happened. And I'm very grateful about that opportunity, because through that I was able to take real and meaningful development to my people in Itestezi, which record is debatable right now, whether or not I was one of the best members of parliament. And I have received a lot of messages and calls and of gratitude that I served better the people of Itestezi. We delivered major projects in Itestezi, which probably no single MP would be able to talk about. Okay, I spearheaded and pushed the creation of the construction of the hydropower station in Itestezi. Okay, 120 megawatts of power was put in there. I put up a big modern market and a bus stop, state of the art. To date, anyone is boasting about that. In fact, national meetings happen at that infrastructure. We built the road going to Itezitezi, 100 kilometers of that road, 70 kilometers I was able to deliver before I left my seat. Okay, so for me, really, it was those things compared to, and I knew very well, Ambassador, that with me taking a position, okay, with me taking a position with government to represent my people, was going to cost me an adoption the following year. And I knew that running an election in a stronghold like Itezitezi at a time was definitely not going to be, it was going against the tide. And for me, I told myself 5 years will be enough for me to do what I can, and I'm very happy. I move and I walk head high in Itestezi without any bodyguards, freely so, and I'm invited to ceremonies by traditional leaders there. I go to churches there and I mingle with the people, compared to some of the past MPs that would not even freely visit the area. So I feel that my 5 years was actually a good time for me to serve the people. And I'm here. I'm so happy that I learned even much more.
Thank you, Honorable Monde.
With the government.
We transition to the state of the country from your perspective. We're suffering the worst load shedding in many years. This is one of the worst. And even for people that have invested in alternative power, it doesn't make sense, because the load shedding is just extremely extensive, 18 hours, 20 hours a day. And I think it has become difficult for our people. The cost of living, again, is being deemed as the worst cost of living crisis we've ever had in living memory. Things have been tough in the past, but not to this extent. Yet, government sings songs of praises to themselves that they are doing well, that the state of the country is okay. They say they're providing free education. They say they are providing CDF, and they say they've restored so-called peace as if we were at war. How do you compare the two? The reality of the state of the economy and their celebration of glory that they've restructured debt, they've done this, and people should re-elect them to power.
Very well. You see, I don't know how that power sometimes blinds people. And if we are to compare, for me, I feel that truly numbers will never lie, and you can easily see it, that there's nothing much happening in this country. We've gotten to a point where in this country, Zambia has reached its worst in every sector. And you can even see how that our people are struggling, how that our people feel about this government, especially after all the lies that were given to the Zambian people. The expectation of the people in this country is been very, very betrayed. Actually, there's a betrayal that people that can entrust you with power, overwhelming voting for you, and you just turn to them with such a level of mediocre delivery to the services that you promised you were going to deliver. And really, like you have guided, and that I always love myself to see if we can get to talk about our solutions. But we will talk about solutions when we have known where the problem is. So take, for example, the energy sector. The energy sector is one of actually the serious sectors that improves the GDP of any country. So in this country, today we've gotten to a point where even that 18 hours of load shedding we are talking about is just on paper. Home where I come from myself, at my house, we've not had power for the last maybe 7 days. 7 days, somewhere thereabout. And I thought that I was the only one that was faced with this problem. I'm very disappointed that not even a statement would have been given to us. What is happening is that 8 out of the 24 hours, maybe 1 hour, you and with that, for me, I think comes a position where you get Zambians to start wonder that if there was a way to evaluate this government and say, or to kick them out, if there should be a way in which government must be evaluated, this government could have been kicked out right in year 2 maybe. Because year 1, everyone would have been hoping, let's give them an opportunity to maybe settle and stabilize themselves. But where we are now, remaining with just about 7-8 months before Parliament is dissolved, this government has completely not delivered to its promises. You can't even rate it the 80% they're talking about. In fact, it's a mockery to tell the Zambian people that this government has delivered 80%. It's a mockery. Okay? The same people that have been saying 80%, who at the end of the day turn and say, however, the cost of living is the only aspect that we have to deal with. Now, if the cost of living is one of the major challenges that this government is faced with, cost of living is a combination of all other sectors. If the agricultural sector is doing well, then the cost of living in terms of, for example, price of mealie meal, price of cooking oil, which comes from sunflower, price of relish, and so on, will go down. And in Zambia, you know that when we talk about cost of living, mainly we talk about our staple food. So this is the government that found mealie meal at 130, and they took it to 450, almost to 500. Okay? So you get to wonder what they mean when they talk like this. And the people that are talking like this actually are detached from the citizens, the suffering masses. I in fact heard my church leaders the other day try to lie to the president that this government has delivered more than any. They've reached 100% of their deliverables and so on. Clearly, you can even see that people are lying to the president, but the people of Zambia know. They know that they were promised no load shedding in this country. We heard how the president boasted about no load shedding in this country, and now we all have seen what's happening. And yet,
Patrick, I think we'll take a break. Is Patrick that was done? We'll take a break. Yes, 10 has to go to break. Is it one has done that? Yes. Okay. And okay, thank you very much. And that was a brief break. We are hosting Honorable Greyford Monde. We'll be opening phone lines very soon for you to participate. Share the broadcast, share with your colleagues. We are broadcasting from Facebook, my page, and other partner pages that are participating in this broadcast. And we are on YouTube, on X, and on TikTok. I'll be inviting Honorable Greyford Monde to wrap up his thoughts around the state of the economy, and then we go to the role of the opposition, and I'll invite you to participate in this broadcast. Honorable Monde, you were telling us your thoughts about the state of the country and the state of the nation.
Very well. So, to evaluate the successes achieved or the failures of this government, we may have to go through sectors. And this can take us the whole day, but we can quickly look at the major ones of those sectors and whether or not numbers there are on the side of this government. So, we are from talking about the agricultural sector again. Even that sector, if we are to evaluate it, you actually see that under this sector, the government, for example, this year's budget, they put in about 7% of the national budget into it. That already is a failure in terms of successes. When you look at the agricultural sector itself, you actually see that we are way far below in terms of our preparedness, for example. Even if we are going to have a harvest, because countries are supposed to be targeting, Zambia is supposed to be targeting at harvest somewhere about 10 million metric tons of maize for real exports, not the small numbers. You go to the tourism sector. Tourism sector comes with a lot of infrastructure development that is required to put in place. How this government, for example, has treated this sector, the tourism sector is completely dead in this country. There's nothing we can talk about today. The previous government left roads being done in terms of feeder roads, major roads connecting districts to ensure that there is movement. People can be able to go and enjoy nature that is endowed in this country. This sector is not bringing in any much into this economy. And I want to say that there are certain countries actually that don't have arable land and they don't have minerals, and they rely solely on the tourism sector. So God gave us an opportunity or a privilege to invest. He gave us an opportunity to have fertile lands. He gave us an opportunity to have animals, good sites, waterfalls, hot springs that this government has not taken advantage of. And they kept talking about this And so this sector is not doing very well. The energy sector, we have just been talking about our power in this country. I was looking at a clip not too long ago where one of the officials from Namibia was actually still be sold power when you in fact don't have. For you to fail to feed your family, you are worse than an infidel. And an infidel, jobs are being lost. What are you? Okay, the Bible further says that which one of you shall give a snake to the child who's asking for fish? Which one of you shall give a stone to a child who's asking for bread? All these are scriptures in the Bible. And this government has completely neglected its role as a government that should look after its people. They've prioritized. You move to the
Thank you, Honorable. It looks like the internet is tripping a bit. It looks like the internet is tripping a bit. Let me just do this.
As the sunlight breaks through the grief that blankets our nation, I bow my head in solemn reflection, not only as a former cabinet minister, but as one who walked, served, and leant under the steady and humble leadership of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. His passing is not just the loss of a former head of state. It is the silence of a heart that beat for the people. A heart that, though often misunderstood, remained anchored in service, compassion, and peace. President Lungu not only led with a loud declaration, but with quiet resolve. At a time when politics around the world grew bitter and divisive, he stood firm, not in arrogance, but in grace. He taught us that leadership is not about the spotlight, but about bearing the weight of a nation with dignity and restraint. He bore that weight for you, for me, for Zambia. I was privileged to serve under his administration. I watched firsthand his deep concern for the ordinary Zambian, the farmer in the field, the youth seeking opportunity, the mother building a home, marketeers, and all that needed his hand. He never merely chased leadership, but leadership chose him, as can be testified at his first election in 2015. An anointed son of the soil to bear burdens of the people. He did not fight for himself, he fought for Zambia. And now on this day, we do not mourn as a people without hope. We remember that a life poured out in service is never lost. It is planted. And from it grows courage, unity, and a renewed call for us all to live lives that matter. To the family, I offer my prayers. To the nation, I pray for unity, love, and peace to honor his legacy. Let us honor him, not just with words, but with action. Let us be leaders in our homes, in our communities, in our hearts. Let us choose peace. Let us choose unity. Let us carry Zambia and our dreams together. Rest well, Your Excellency. Your journey on earth is complete, but your legacy marches on. God bless Zambia as we mourn. Thank you.
Before I die, can I do one more thing?
Thank you, Honorable Greyford Monde. We are hosting Honorable Greyford Monde on this wonderful Monday, 8th September 2025. You'll be able to call us. He's just winding up his thoughts on the state of our country. And Honorable Monde, what do you think as a rider, the state of the opposition, and what should the opposition do? Because Zambian people are looking to the opposition to provide an alternative, and they appear to see just confusion, many candidates, many people clamoring to stand, and our people do not understand. What is the state of the opposition as you wind up your thoughts on the state of the country?
Yeah, very well. So I was actually talking about Zambians participating in the strategic economic activities of this country. Everything is not in the hands of the Zambians today. Everything is not in the hands of the Zambians. And I would have wished to see a situation where, for example, strategic mines were going to be given to Zambians to participate therein. If Zambia taking advantage of the soils that we have produced much, we can feed Africa, we can feed the world. And you know what that would do to our economy. Coming to the part of the opposition participation, the opposition where we are today. First of all, I want to say that the opposition today has faced a lot of punches, a lot of threats by this ruling party. There has never been a time when 4 years and just less than a year to go into an election, no major opposition participation in politics. I would not have supported that we must begin to politic in year one of a government that has just been put in power. But I can tell you that this government has been given a lot of leverage in order for them to prove what they promised the people of Zambia in terms of deliverables. But this government has completely failed to do that. Not only have they failed to do that, now that we are going into the next election, you have seen how this government is stopping the opposition to flourish. And when I talk about the opposition, I know that there are many political parties in the opposition, but every country, in the US, for example, there will be the Democrats, there will be the Republicans. These are the major two parties. And at any given time when the Democrats are in power, the Republicans will be the major opposition political party. And in this country, we will not talk about opposition without the PF having to be mentioned, because the PF is the largest opposition political parties. The PF has the largest number of members of parliament in the House. It has the largest number in terms of mayors, council chairpersons, and councillors in this country, going to over 1,000 of our councillors, and that's not a small number. And so with the PF being the mother of the opposition, it was hoped that the PF would have been allowed to democratically participate in the governance of this country, to give checks and balances. But what has happened is very sad, that the major opposition political party has received a lot of so-called, in the inverted commas, as they would want to glorify the use of misuse, actually, of terminologies like Mingalato. Okay, all of that is being done to stop the opposition from having to participate freely. And I can tell you that the root cause of this problem is not because the president now wants to kill democracy. The problem that is getting, or that has gotten the country to this state of affair, is the fact that now the president is having to rethink and want to defend his position next year. For a moment, just imagine that this president had delivered those promises he told the people, that Mirimi was going to be at 50 kwacha. Just imagine if he had done that. Where would the opposition find the strength or the guts to go and challenge such a government which has delivered? If this government had delivered, for example, in terms of roads that promised the people, okay? In Western Province, this government promised the people, for example, that they were going to do that Mongu, Lukulu, Watopa, the road that my good brother, Honorable Mtelo, kept crying for. That they were going to do, for example, the Sesheke, Kazungula, Livingstone Road. They were going to do major roads in this country. The bottom road that was left by the PF in Southern Province, okay, the Greatest Road up to the bridge, and so on. If they had delivered, that there was no load shedding today, even if there was going to be load shedding only for just 6 hours or even just 12 hours of our time, if that delivered, I don't see how this government was going to go out for the opposition. So when you see any government begin to target the opposition, know for sure that they fail to deliver on their promises. That is marking key number one. You see a government target the opposition, you must know that that government has failed to deliver on its promises. And so they are ensuring that they kill the opposition in order for them to remain as the only players on the political field. What this government has completely forgotten is that even for them to win the elections, first of all, this is a government that got into power democratically. This is a government that condemned, for example, bad democratic trends. And after condemning them, the very things that they were condemning, they have done them pro max. They've done atrocities pro max. How many members of parliament have lost their seats unheard of in this country? Under flimsy cases that have been created for them, or in trying to make sure that they can get numbers in parliament in order for them to change and amend the constitution to get them stay in power forever. So for me, state of affairs today in terms of the roles of the opposition is really very saddening, because we have really been hit as opposition. Never ever in this country have we seen where people fear to talk about the problems they have in this country. We have seen how even just mere bloggers have been picked and taken into prison, sometimes abducted and taken to places that people don't even know. It's happening in this country. And so the root cause, the whole problem is emanating from the fact that this government has failed to deliver on their promises. And I wish that they could deliver on their promises in the remaining 7 months to go before Parliament is dissolved. Failure to which they must now learn or know that in fact their major opposition is not even in the political parties. Opposition now is in the people. The Zambian people themselves are the ones that they are going to face when that time comes. Regards everyone wanting to run for president, I can tell you, Honorable Mwamba, is that as long as we're in a democracy, people have their right to decide which position that they want to run. And in as much as this is happening, we also know that different political parties will choose, according to their constitutions, the leaders that they're going to put together. And talking about this, the PF is not spared, like many other political parties, that the PF is not spared. A process of getting a president is underway, and you know that we lost our president ourselves, and so soon we should be going to choose a president. And this process is open. It was opened up for anyone who was willing to pay and desirous to lead this country. And what I'm happy about is that when this process is over, the PF is going to have one president, and that one president is the one that is going to be fronted to the alliance partners, the Tonse Alliance, and through there, a leader is going to be nominated, and that leader is going to run the alliance and become, is then going to be the president of the opposition. And our prayer is that all these opposition political parties are supposed to rethink and evaluate themselves and see what are their chances, okay? If we are going to disintegrate as opposition, what are our chances of winning? First of all, we are in one basket as opposition, meaning that we differ with the ruling. And if we differ with the ruling, then at least we've got a lot of common grounds. So I can assure you that not the opposition in Zambia, and I've seen all the leaders in the opposition, apart from a few that are working with the ruling party. Okay, and those parties definitely will not be deemed as opposition. How would you become an opposition political party if you are working with the government of the day? So the entire opposition is now talking, and there will be consensus very soon in terms of agreeing that we should work together. And for me, really, that is what I would want to see happen. So it's going to settle. It's a matter of time it's going to settle. It's healthy in democracies to have a lot of people wanting to, but also democracy requires that when a vote is cast, a leader is chosen, everyone must rally behind that leader. And so we are going to get there. It's not something to worry much, and I pray that this can be resolved very soon. Yeah. So,
wonderful. Callers, you can now join the debate and ask Honorable Greyford Monde any contribution that you may have, any questions that you may have. The number is crawling down there. You know our famous number 0973078082. A privilege to host Honorable Greyford Monde, former MP for Itensteji, former Deputy Minister, former Minister, and is sharing with us the state of the country and proposed solutions. And I think It's time that you participated in the broadcast. Do you have any questions? Make your calls right now. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Munkunge calling from East London.
Bamunkonge mnishan mukwai.
Wino ba mwamba mwa wombeni mkwai.
Yole saletu pala.
Mkwai ba weso twatotera kwena pamashiwu yonse aya. Nomba ine ndikofika wasakamana. Because kulingana na opinion yanji ba UPND bachiningisho ba PF bali bombere bulu sana. Hello, ba PF bali kwatana manifesto isuma na abantu babatemera umwanda wakati bareteka bwino abantu. So after ba UPND basango kwe bati basangwa ni bafeja. So bali karapanyi bamu na twara stashani bakwe bati tuikare kofi bwino because abantu na batusepa. Foto wachitana tufiro. So twara bachita step bali amba nomba ukumchita attack PF. Rafine ba ichitira attack pakwisa pali ruling party ukuma mu opposition kusa ruling party system nomba basaranda chituweshe since twali bachimfya ukuba bepesha obufina abantu bamfwa bakwe bati tuikale pali chichipuna. So hapo twafira okubomba again sentuwerere kuli line strategy sentuambyo kona ora PF. PF utamwa kwa tapo chance bari kakaba PF abenga twara PF bandanji ne fintifya kusana ababura party bayipoka ukunyinshi bari kakane ntungurushire shinga tware chironganiro ndanji. So na chirai bakfe na chirai staff advice ba monde mufuri mwa ikara sana panshi mwishita sana focus kupoka party because rangu muri munkondo ngamwamona ayimfutisha alira sana nanguna munkwata makakura bo kuchinja strategy. So mukutumane sana mumone sana baba ndoko bamifunya na popo mu Africa. So mumone hapa kwa bo kufikana bachinja system yambire pali ba maranji na bachinja system ya kwa mungu kumiramvya mashina kiraba miramfishe pakwe bati bamipoke ute konomba pana bambo kuramvya bamifunyisha ilya 11 billion pakwe bati abena Zambia interest muri mu hope yambyo kurapwa because abena Zambia bali kwatamo hope. So wonfye ko strategy na imbi noti ya kurusha fyo kupoka pacha abantu bali mitemwa. So kutumwa wonfye ko strategy imbi mwaishiba inshira ya kuchitira muri brand leadership na abantu muri na bena ukwangufyanya because ababantu ukulekera kofe party nshire mona kwa chikuchabe chintu changu kepo fe bali firo kulekera ko body umfwa ya finange umfwa watu mo party.
Thank you very much, Munkonge. Thank you very much. Let's take some other calls. Thank you, Munkonge. Thank you. Yeah, Jabari Katila body nga party. That's a difficult one. So callers, Honorable Greyford Monde is on today. We're glad to host him, former cabinet minister under the economic sector of agriculture and livestock, and he's former MP for Iteji. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, Mr. Zulu calling from Lusaka.
Yes, Mr. Zulu.
Evening, Honorable Greyford Monde. Yeah, mine are always short contributions. I just wanted to encourage Honorable Monde to be speaking more. Yeah, because there's a lot of wisdom in this man, and we appreciate. We need him as a friend. We need such people to be talking. I think if they are talking, even the state of the economy can be the way it is. Then the other issue is I want him to make a comparison. As a person who has been in both the UPND and the PF, and he has held such senior positions in both parties, I want him to make a comparison in as far as intra-party democracy is concerned. Because we've heard the other camp always talking about them being better than the other. But Honorable Monde has walked through both roads, so he's in a better position to tell us or to make comparisons in that area. And in conclusion, Honorable Monde, there's a question that we always ask on this platform. Are you ready to lead and to be led? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Oh, wonderful. Are you ready to be led? Are you ready to lead or to be led? abakuchipata vanchita correct ati kamwendo panjila not kashefe na chilanda ine but at it's kamwendo munjila. Thank you, Honorable Your Excellency Martha Lungu. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Honorable.
Good evening.
Pass my greeting to Honorable Monde.
Thank you very much.
Otherwise, my contribution is that he talked of the UPND blocking development when they are in opposition for fear that if the government delivers, means people say no, the government has delivered. Can you ask him please I'm asking to clarify, to at least to go into details on that aspect so that the people should know that the so-called being deprived of development was not the wish of the Patriotic Bank, but the wish of their leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me still see if I can take some more calls. The caller is asking about the role of an opposition MP. I think you touched on that greatly. Just a minute. Someone is calling on the other line. I don't know, it has dropped somewhere. Thank you. I'll get it just now. We are featuring Honorable Greyford Monde, former MP for Itesteji and former minister. So let's take your calls and you ask him so that when I pass on, we don't have to be disturbed by calls. Yeah, thank you. There are messages coming in, plenty of messages, but we want to encourage callers. We can read the messages later. Or if you send a voice note is better. We want to hear your voice so that no one says, no, we're manufacturing views. Honorable Monde, maybe just answer those three that have come in, and as I sort out this issue of the phone, then I'll get back to you. Please answer the phones that have the questions that have come so far.
Very well. So let me start from the last caller. And the last caller didn't give us...
Thank you, Honorable Monde. You can answer the queries.
However, the question was very clear, and I think he was asking for me to actually clarify further what I meant. You know, and this is not an allegation. This is actually the truth. And you actually see that...
is internet acting up once again?
Under the
okay, where you are.
Would not have done a lot of things. And speaking for myself, one question and some of the challenges that I got as a young member of parliament was
Yes, Honorable, you can continue. I think we had an internet glitch. Can you, because that has been the trend every time we're in the middle of a program, a live program in Lusaka. There's sometimes interruption of power. But however, we're hosting Honor is among the 8 that paid, and we seem to have a glitch on his side. I think internet has gone, but we'll sort it out quickly.
Wimbo wa temenu wakato ya baba ume ya baba ume
Thank you. We seem to have sorted out the issue of the phone. Let's see if we can pick the calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Honorable Mwamba.
Good day, my dear sister. Nameless, yes. Make your contributions.
Mwamba, I'm just concerned about reaching out to people. Some of us who are here, we are always on your platform and we get all your messages, but I doubt it so much back home if everyone is being reached out. You know, we've got a lot of people in Zambia who've got no access even to a simple, the simplest WhatsApp. They can't hear what you are saying. They can't hear what you put on your platform. So this question is direct to you. If you could try and tell us how you reach everyone, it's important. I end here.
Is this my question or question to Honorable Greyford Monde?
Yes, the question, this is all I wanted to talk about, was just to ask about reaching out to everybody about all your programs because they are important. Yes, I know exactly that Mr. Monde is talking about development, more especially about farming and all what's happening in Zambia. Yeah, but from what I know, a lot of people are not reached out. They are voiceless and they can't even get the messages. People should know what's happening. Yes. So if you could actually try and tell us how you can reach out to everybody. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. This looks like a question to me.
Thank you, Mr. Mwamba. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Greyford Monde, we all have a duty to reach our people. And I think that caller is very concerned that while we have wonderful, fruitful discussions here, they may not reach everyone. And she's, I think, putting the burden on all of us, on me and others. For me, I think we have tailored the program to be TV broadcast quality, that you can pick the feed, not compromise on quality, and the standards are at the highest. We're not using a phone, we are using a complex process, including a stream software. I think this is to prepare in the event that, my dear sister, for example, in Itej, you think that this program should be on radio. We can liaise with Radio Itej and they can pick this stream and they can put it on radio. The audio quality will be high like we are in the studio. And that's why we also bother about the standards, the language used, and just also everything else. We try to structure it that in the manner it should be TV friendly, radio friendly, and our partners are not in trouble in any way. So my dear sister, if you wish to partner with us, or anyone wishes to partner with us, you don't have to be in America. You can be in Chipata and rebroadcast this program on Breeze FM. Or if there's a TV station, you can put it out on TV station. You can put it up on Northwestern TV. I don't have to be there. You can just arrange and pay. And if you think we are hosting and discussing, for example, an important issue of the mines, and you think that the people in Western Province, Northwestern Province, wish to hear this, you can do that. For politicians and leaders like my dear brother Greyford Monde, they should go on the ground, attend churches, attend events, officiate weddings, attend funerals, speak to our people, because holding rallies has been quite difficult. What is your perspective, Honorable Greyford Monde, on this? Okay, let me look for Honorable Greyford Monde. Is the power still off for our colleagues? Let me just check.
Have
we lost power?
I can't
Isa kwa wingi mwakwete, isa so wingi
No, we need no, we need them.
Okay, the lines are on, and I think Lusaka is properly reconnected. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you very much. I would prefer to be anonymous. I'm calling you from.
Yes, anonymous. Make your contributions.
Thank you very much. Greyford Monde On Emv.
Is okay. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you very much. I want to state that I hope that our opposition political parties have come to terms with the reality that is obtaining in this country. The Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, we are in deep mess in this country.
Yeah.
As I'm talking to you right now, the country is in total darkness. Even those people who are being given our electricity in this country, it should be made aware that the entire country is in total darkness here. In PF, we just used to have 3 hours of load shedding. 3 hours of load shedding, and we used to complain when it goes to 4. Today, we are in total darkness in this country. The cost of living has skyrocketed in this country. There's massive suffering and colossal embarrassment that has been bestowed on this country. You can hear for yourself the lecture that we are getting from South Africa on the international platform. We are being lectured to now that
Oh, we lost the caller. Hello, caller. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. I'm calling, Zephania is my name. I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia. How are you, Honorable Greyford Monde? I know he's listening.
Yes,
I want just to say thank you very much. He has elaborated the challenges we are facing in Zambia, but what is needed as opposition party, we need our leaders to start talking, and especially PF, they should now go back to the structures, start reorganizing the structures. Once they see that structures are being organized and everything is moving, this UPND is just a one-term political party. They have started packing right now. Our traffic officer is going. Now, the question I have for Greyford Monde is that UPND, what they do, when they see that there is potential in someone, I saw, of course, we wrote about Greyford Monde and the Honorable Brian Mundubire about the road. Yako, it states that there is something which happened. I don't know how he's going to explain so that he can exonerate himself. Because once they will start cooking up until they are arrested. We'll start hearing that no, they can't be, part and parcel of the PF who have aspired. and so forth. When Kose started, meaning we know where it's coming from, it's being cooked. So I want him just to elaborate more about what happened about the road which was terminated, and him and Wabrani Munduwire were mentioned. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Greyford Monde, you can pick those two questions.
Thank you very much. Let me actually start with this same one, the bottom one, the last one, and this the lighter one. So, like you are saying, the problem that the UPND have is that they want to exterminate anyone that brings competition, including exterminating the entire opposition in terms of political parties themselves. You can see how they are running now the PF themselves through stooges like Honorable Chavinga and so on and so forth. Their target now, like mentioned by the first caller, again, Mr. Munkonge from Chilanga, is that they just want to make sure that there is no opposition whatsoever. But I think that, like I've said, the opposition is the Zambian people. Talking about the road, I was also surprised to see this coming up on their page, and a bit of talk that Honorable Brani Munduwire and myself are involved on that particular road. So now the contractor that was appointed to do that road is called Build Trust. The owners of that company, I don't know them myself. But there is a mention that one of the shareholders is the Honorable Brani Munduwire. I was a member of parliament in Itestezi, and my role was to lobby for my road to be built. And the government procedure is that when the road development agents has identified the road, they do the advertising, they choose the contractor through a bidding process, and the member of parliament is never anywhere near that process. The only thing I will hear myself is that out of the companies that had participated in the bid, this is the contractor that has been appointed. And for me as member of parliament, but then my role or my duty would be to wait and announce to the people that the road has been awarded to a contractor, and push probably government for ensuring that works are not storing on site. In fact, it was one of those things that a member of parliament would be pushing for his developmental programs. So to see myself being paraded and say that I was part of the contractors or I was part of the people that could have misappropriated, I don't even know how much that road costed. I can't say it off cuff. I remember that it was some hundreds of millions. I can't remember how much it was because I was not a contractor. I don't even know how much was paid for the works that were done. But also one thing that I know is that it's panic. The UPND are in a panic mood. That particular week when that information came out, I actually went on the local radio station for Itezitezi, and I explained the same things I'm talking about, that if the road is not happening now, it's because government did not probably pay the contractor. We all know that contractors are not paid in advance 100% of the works. So they are paid according to schedule. So you work, you produce a certificate, then they pay you. This is what I know as standard practice because I'm also a contractor myself. But I can tell you that in saying all of these things, it was just malice that the UPND. There is no point at which I was involved in the appointment of the contractor, in the payments of the contractor, or in any way. So, my brother Zephaniah, I want to assure you that I remain very clean. And if you are ever going to hear that I'm being dragged into any of these cases, it's because there is pressure on the UPND. And because they really want to make sure that they take out any dissenting voices and anyone challenging them, then they will try and do that. But for me, I'm not even worried about that. Our member of parliament for Itestezi went to parliament and asked that question. Why that the road was not completed and whether or not there was... The answer was very clear. We followed that program. Minister of Works and Supply or Infrastructure and Housing, as it were, Honorable Milupi, gave answers to that question from the member of parliament. It was very clear that the government said, when there shall be funding, then the road is going to be completed. So at what stage? So for me, really, if it's any matter that they want to pursue, I would really want to see them proceed in that fashion. But there is completely nothing, and I can assure you. And I'm agreeing with you completely that the UPND is a one-term party, and therefore they want to hold their stay in power. If really the UPND wanted to hold themselves to remain in power more than 5 years, what they needed to do was to provide services, was to work on their campaign promises. Void of this, there's no way. I don't see how that they can be able to stay in power. The Zambian people now, I think after being lied to by this government, now are comparing and contrasting. What did PF do? What did UPND do? Including the question that Mr. Zulu did mention. First of all, Mr. Zulu, let it be known to you, to the country, and to anyone listening, that for me, if the people give me a privilege to lead, I will be glad to lead with everybody on board. Again, if the people will say, no, not you, I'll be willing to be led. I think it's not a do or die kind of a situation. You know that, first of all, I'm a Christian. I also know that leadership comes from God. And should God wish or permit it, there's no one who's going to stop me from leading. However, I also know that God will choose his people, and if the mantle is not on me, I'll support however that is going to be appointed. Then regards the intra-party elections, I want to tell you that the Patriotic Front Party, my party, has always gone through democratic elections all through its life from the formation of the party in 2001. And I can assure you that through this process, a lot of people have been elected to various positions of power. When I compare with the previous party, where there was one non-critical convention, and that convention, all of us to date were shocked with the manner in which that convention was handled. Okay, it's at that convention which happened in 2008 where we saw tribes being part of the qualifications for anyone to be a president of that particular political party, which is the UPND. We saw how the longest serving vice president who qualified to be president at the demise of its founding leader, that he was kicked out basically for being the tribe that he was. And I don't want to talk about these issues because for me really, in this time and era, we should be talking about tribes instead of talking about performance, instead of talking about qualifications. It's so sad, and I'm very, to say the least, I'm very disgusted to hear or to see people begin to get positions based on their tribes and so on. And so, in terms of our intra-party elections between the PF and the UPND, the PF was able to move a leader from the northern, who was Bemba, into another leader in the east, who was Easterner. And now I can assure you as a country that this position is up for grabs. And myself coming from the west, being Lozi, I can assure you that I am getting it. And this party, the PF, is now going to Western Province under my leadership. This is how open that this party has always been. Okay? So for me, I really think that even the rejection of the PF in 2021 was purely the lies. The lie was too much, and it was too good to be true, except Zambians believing this man and having been talking on the platforms for such a long time could have believed this lie. But going forward, I think that Zambia needs a fresh start. In terms of the levels of trust for political party leaders today, Zambians now begin to think that there is politics is just a game, and that is just a process of getting people into positions and never deliver what they believe in. So we need to create confidence back into our people that indeed people can deliver. And we as a PF, we showed the people that we can actually deliver. And it is from our previous works where we moved agricultural beneficiaries under the Farm Input Support Program to less than 500,000 to 1.1 million. Those are the activities we are going to be targeting had we been given an opportunity to proceed. So for me, I really feel that we need to do a lot, but I think regards the PF, we already have a track record. And I want to invite the Zambian people to give an opportunity to the PF once more, and especially after we had lost elections, as a party, we went out to do a post-mortem on the reasons that led to our loss. And some of the reasons that led to our losses are in public domain, okay? One of the things that were recommended from that process of post-mortem is that the party must rebrand. And we have vibrant leaders that have showed interest to govern and to run as presidents on this political party. By the time we'll be done with this process, I'm very confident that we are going to have fresh legs on the field. And those legs are going to liberate the struggles of our people in this country. So I think I've attempted to respond to all the callers regarding what they have said.
Thank you very much. With those answers, I think you've provided clarity, and especially on your ambitions. And yes, would like to bring PF Kimakwenyan in Western Province. With the outlook you've given us of the country, the state of the opposition, please give us your final remarks. I recognize we are live. You are at a place where you may need to travel back home, and the team to travel back home, and we do not want to inconvenience you, especially for members of the opposition. Kindly give us your last remarks.
Very well. For me, as a young person in this country, what I really feel is that it's time for every Zambian, the young people, the elderly people, that have seen how far and how much this country has been taken far backwards than was ever thought of. In my view, I think that time has come when everyone must rise to the occasion. In terms of the levels of how much our constitution in this country has been trampled upon, it has been with disregard, been broken, no follow-up in terms of the rule of law and how wings of government are operating. It is now time for the young people to rise. Those young people that went to vote in August in 2021, it is your time now to rise and defend your country. I can't imagine this government given another opportunity to lead in the next 5 years. If that is given to them, this country, there will be nothing to talk about this country. In all the sectors, there will be nothing to talk about this country. And so now the call is up to the young people. In the same manner you came to vote out the PF that had done so much, I think now it is your time to come and bring back the PF that delivered in terms of national development, infrastructure development, 8,000 kilometers of road tarring, okay, water reticulation, hydropower stations. It is time for the young people to rise and participate. It is a time for the young people to be involved, not just by voting or throwing stones. I want the young people of Zambia to participate in elective positions of councillor, position of council chair, mayors, members of parliament, president included. It's your time. The last word I want to say to you, the young people of Zambia, is that we are the people we have been waiting for, and therefore there is no time to think of tomorrow. Time is now, and let's rise to defend our country.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that contribution. And Honorable Greyford Monde would like to thank you very much for making this appearance on our program. We are grateful for the thoughts and contribution you are making to politics in the opposition, to bring issue-based politics that we appreciate, and we wish you well in your endeavors. And I'll forward some of the questions that have come to you for you just to appreciate what our people were saying. Dear viewers, this was our Monday edition of EMV. Today we are featuring Honorable Greyford Monde, former MP for Iteji and former Minister for livestock. He served under President Michael Sata as a deputy minister and full minister under President Edgar Lungu. He's among literally the founders of the UPND, and he was in UPND, until I think 2015. And he's been with the PF at senior level and is aspiring to be president of the party. On Wednesday, we have a special session. We'll discuss youth and youth leadership. I've got a panel that will help me discuss this. Lusaka lawyer Celestine Mukandila, Dr. Emmanuel Nkoma from Deben, and Raymond Kazeze from here in the United States will be putting out the flyers for you. We'll be discussing the role of youth leadership. There seems to be a dominant narrative that young people must participate in these coming elections. Remember, President Hakainde Hichilema even threw a dangle through Bill 7. He says, I'll give you seats, 12 guaranteed seats that he himself was going to nominate. So there is an issue of young people. There is a political party set up by Binu Mpundi. It's not a political party yet. It's an NGO. Maybe they hope to transform it into a political party called Ichabaiche. You have young people like just my guest today, who are appealing to young people. Christopher Kangombe and others, Greyford Monde are appealing to young people. What should young people do? Should they just be escorting others? Should they participate? And if they are participating, how difficult is the terrain? And it's one of the questions probably I didn't ask my dear brother. I can see still in the comment. How did you as a young person achieve this? Although I closed you out. You can answer that question. It's never too late. How does a young person, look at your age. You've been a minister, literally a minister for 10 years. And you've been a member of parliament. And you are saying you had actually started 10 years earlier before we saw you as minister. How did you navigate the terrain for young people, just inspire young people?
Very well. It's not an easy undertaking. And I pray that we can now get to begin to evaluate young people based on what they are able to do. It was very, very difficult, actually. They start, like I mentioned, culturally, it's believed that for you to take a leadership role in a country or in this country, you've got to first be married, and then you must have a certain level of resources, then they must have approved, then they want to see your experience, and so on and so forth. You must own this, and so on and so forth. So it's not an easy undertaking. But I want to say that while it's that difficult, it's also very easy if you simplify yourself and you go to the people and just from the bottom of your heart and just be able to say that which you think you can be able to do for the people. And the Zambian people, I think, have done this before. They've done it before, and they can still do it now. The challenge is that if the young people are going to be waiting and not rising to the occasion and be counted on the table, then no one is going to think for you. I had to rise myself at a time when I was not in any structure of the party at a time. I went to challenge the elections chairman of the party who was contesting, the national youth chairman of the party who was contesting. And so for me to have achieved, it really took for me to believe that, like I've said, that we are the people we have been waiting for. And where there's a will, there will always be a way. And so for me, it is it's about believing in the core that you have, okay? And the leadership comes from God. And so I want to call out the young people there. It's not been smooth. There will be a lot of talk around you. You can't afford it. You don't know how to talk. I remember when I was, for example, saying, because it's your will and your power that gets you where you want. So I remember one time debating with one of the candidates, again, who was standing on the ruling MMD at the time. And I told them, for me, it's basic. People want water. We'll provide water. And we're going to run taps in an unplanned location. There's a place in Itestes called Masemu area. It's called Chivolia, and then part of Chivolia there's Masemu area, under Masemu ward. This man who has a lot of experience, and he was new governance tells me, no, how can you possibly do that? You need to plan the city, you need to, and I said, no. We'll run the pipes in that area. And where we are going to find there's a house, we'll bring it down, because I mean, these are small houses, we can compensate them. What that household needs is also water, so we'll provide. So you'll be challenged to experience, okay, that you don't know what you're talking about, you've not been there, but I mean, where there's a will. Here we are today, I'm now putting up myself for a position of a president. I want the support of the young people. Given an opportunity to be a president myself, the cabinet is going to be youthful. And in saying this, we're not saying that we don't want the elderly folk. We want them to advise us. They've seen a lot, and they can participate in national governance by them advising the young people. So the gap of young people participating in elections is so wide. It must just be bridged. And sometimes this is the reason why you see just like the gap of people being rich in the country is also very wide from those who are poor. It's the same principle. If young people participate in politics, then we have no gaps. So in this coming election, the next 7 months before Parliament dissolves, I want to invite the young people again. Challenges will be there, but challenges are for people to overcome. And it's not easy, but you know, the saying that if they did it, how can we not did it? So we can always do this, and the success will be our way. And with the numbers that the young people have, I don't see how a young candidate can fail to win an election anywhere, be it at a national level. We have more young people in this country than the elderly people. Be it at a constituency, there's no way a young person can lose an election as a young person. When I started my election in Itestezi, we dubbed it Njabana Bana. This same Ichabaiche, which my brother, Honorable Bino, is talking about, that's the strategy I used myself 15 years ago in Itestezi, actually 15 years ago, because my campaigns were before 2011. We just went out and called ourselves Njabana Bana. And you'll be amazed how that the young people came to support me, and we went out challenging the elderly ones, and they laughed and they thought it would not work, but it worked. So it's an invitation to the young people. Please come on board. And I'm excited to hear that, Ambassador Womulamu, you have structured a program to talk about this on Wednesday. This is a must listening program on Wednesday. We all must make a date. The young people of this country must make a date to listen into this program, to be encouraged. It's doable and we can get it done.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So on Wednesday, I'll be having Celestine Mukandila, is the National Youth Chairperson for Tonse Alliance. I have a youthful leader who's based here in the United States, Raymond Kazeze, and I've got Dr. Nkoma from Deben. He runs a leadership institute, and we'll be discussing participation of young people in politics. Thank you, Honorable Greyford Monde. Colleagues, God bless you. See you on Wednesday.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha Tanate pochimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Awazunga wajita katongi Nakula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Neseko siove pameso Yangu ama umebaya Kiyaba Kiyaba ume Kiyaba ume Kiyaba ume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila Lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Ale filamba Yena minta pengo sile Eti kume mo pulondolo la vale Lilo wingi Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseko wingi mwakwete Mwaya Mwende wino tatawe
Ibisebo wapangili obwingi Ukuchinja lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Kutituwa na basiyani Chagwa katuse